They say the IRS is the scariest thing in America. And my aunt, she learned that the hard way. She thought she was clever, stealing hundreds of thousands from my dying grandmother, manipulating her siblings, and cheating me out of my inheritance. But what she didn't know was that I was watching. And when the time came, I picked up the phone, filed the right paperwork, and unleashed the one enemy she could never beat, the IRS. If you've ever dreamed of seeing someone finally face justice after years of selfish lies, smash that like button and subscribe, because this is one of the most brutal family revenge stories you'll ever hear. My grandma was in her late 80s, early 90s. A tough woman, sharp mind but fragile body. She had one simple wish: to die in her own home, not in some senior facility. And honestly, that should have been easy. My grandpa had left her comfortable. He'd sold off assets years earlier, invested wisely, and built the trust to make sure she'd be cared for. After Grandpa passed, he appointed trustees: my dad Willie, my uncle Fred, and my aunt Rebecca. At first, things seemed fine, but slowly, Rebecca, who lived only 2 miles from Grandma, started taking control. My dad had moved farther away, and Fred lived across the country. Rebecca slid right into the role of caretaker, assuring everyone she had it covered. But she didn't. When Dad visited, he found things off. Grandma was eating moldy food because she had no transportation. Her cable and newspaper subscriptions had lapsed. She didn't even have consistent overnight care. And the worst part? Even though Rebecca lived practically around the corner, Grandma only saw her once a week, for an hour at most. It broke my dad's heart. It broke mine too. But Grandma? She was too proud to complain. She did her crosswords, ate what she had, and kept quiet. She did get her wish, though. She passed away in her own home. And that's when the truth started unraveling. At the probate lawyer's office, the siblings gathered. My dad, Uncle Fred, Rebecca, and another estranged aunt. The house was worth about $600,000, with another $400,000 in accounts. $1 million in family assets. Rebecca immediately pushed for a quick sale. No audits, no digging, just sign papers and walk away with about $200,000 each. But Dad wasn't having it. He knew something was wrong. He'd seen too much. He refused to sign. Rebecca exploded. She screamed, cursed, tried to bully him into silence. Dad walked out instead. 6 months later, they met again. This time, Dad had backup. Uncle Fred agreed to request a forensic audit going back 5 years. Rebecca protested, whining about the $5,000 cost, but 2 beneficiaries demanded it. It was happening. And that's when the real bombshells dropped. When the report came back, Dad asked me to help review it. I'll never forget sitting at my desk that Saturday night, reading line after line, and feeling my blood boil. Here's what I found. Food expenses, $1,100 to $2,000 a month, for a 90-year-old woman who lived alone and barely ate. Cell phone bills, 6 lines. Grandma only had a landline. Gasoline, $400 a month, for a truck she hadn't owned in years. Home repairs, tens of thousands paid to Rebecca's husband's construction business. Fake projects, inflated costs, and things Grandma never had, like a home security system. Vacations, 2 trips to Europe, paid for by Grandma. Stipends, $2,000 a month to estranged Aunt Becky. $2,500 a month to her deadbeat son. Grandkids payouts. Every grandkid was supposed to get $10,000 on their 30th birthday. Funny enough, Rebecca's kids got theirs. Mine and my siblings never saw a dime. Business loans. Over $200,000 funneled into Rebecca's husband's failing construction business, supposedly in exchange for equity. That business eventually declared bankruptcy. It was theft, pure and simple. At the next meeting, Dad and Uncle Fred came in ready. The lawyer looked grim, pointing out this was textbook breach of fiduciary duty. Fraud. Crimes that could mean actual prison time. Rebecca's smug mask cracked. Suddenly, she wasn't demanding signatures. She was cornered, scrambling. In the end, she got nothing. Zero. The other aunt, after her shady stipends were accounted for, only got $25,000. My dad and uncle split the rest after paying out the rightful grandkids. The house sold for $520,000. That was satisfying. But for me, it wasn't enough. Because Rebecca hadn't just stolen from Grandma. She tried to steal from me. She robbed me of my inheritance, my trust, my respect for family, and I wasn't about to let her walk away with her cushy lifestyle intact. Here's where things turned from family drama to federal nightmare. I started digging, and I found IRS Form 3949-A, the one you use to report tax fraud. I had everything I needed. Notarized copies of the audit, trust documents, evidence of unreported income. I sent it all in. Then I waited. Months went by. A year. I thought maybe nothing would happen. Then, 18 months later, I got a letter. The IRS wanted to meet. Walking into that building, my heart pounded. The agent sat across from me with a thick folder. She asked me questions, confirmed details, then slid the folder closer. Rebecca hadn't declared over $1.2 million in income across 5 years. The vacations, the stipends, the business payments, it was all fraud. She owed the IRS $420,000 plus penalties. There was no way she could pay. Not on a teacher's pension. Not after her husband's bankruptcy. The IRS bled her dry. They seized the house, the cars, everything. She and her husband were forced to move to a dusty, depressing desert town in the Southwest. No money, no dignity, nothing. Meanwhile, I got a check. $60,000 as a whistleblower reward. Sweet, sweet justice. Rebecca thought she was untouchable. She thought she could scream and bully her way into stealing from everyone, especially from the grandmother she was supposed to protect. But in the end, she wasn't facing me, or my dad, or the family. She was facing the IRS, and they took everything. Family betrayal cuts the deepest. But sometimes, the people who think they're the smartest in the room forget one thing. There's always someone watching. Always someone willing to push back. Rebecca gambled with greed. And the IRS doesn't forgive greed. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and drop a comment. Would you have gone as far as calling the IRS on your own family? Or was I too ruthless? And don't forget to subscribe for more stories where karma shows no mercy. Because sometimes, the sweetest revenge is when justice comes with handcuffs and tax liens.